answer didn't solve the problem. An emotional answer didn't solve the problem. Instead, he got Jesus to tell him directly, it's your responsibility. So now, pause for a minute, friends, and put yourself in Philip's shoes. How do you think he now felt? First of all, his mats had fallen down. Then he tried to push it away. Jesus pushed it back. How do you think he now felt? Do you think he now goes, oh, Jesus, thank you for opening my eyes to see that it's now my responsibility. I'm ready now, Lord. What do you think he did? What do you think? My time is going. My minus the time for you. Not answering my question. Yeah, they top 1 minute answering one question. What is that? I'm like, Jesus, I have the patience to test you in the question. No, but honestly, what do you think his reaction was? Pressure. Did you say pressure? Depression. Okay, not quite depression, but someone said anger. You're getting close. Fear. Frustration is the word I want. Surprise. It was what? Anxiety. Yeah, getting close. How do you think he felt? Listen, you give them something to eat. Meanwhile, he had just been caught trying to dodge that responsibility. If I now do Bill Winston's time, bring out $1 now, $100, the answer will not come out. I will bring 100 naira. $100, that's how I begin to flow now. I'm not bringing it, that's how me. Friends, yeah, you're all not wrong. The word I'm looking for. Okay, pause. Do you think by Jesus telling him, you give them something to eat, he felt accused? And if he felt accused, what do you think his next response will be? Defensive. He said defending himself. He literally had been caught pants down. The time is gone. It's late. Let them go and find themselves something to eat, Lord. Let's help them. So say, come, my friend. Now you get this work, you. He began to defend himself immediately. And look at what he said. Let's go to Luke 9. Luke 9, verse 13. Jesus is still trying to get them to pull the right trigger. Verse 13, until you pull the right trigger, that impossibility will not go away. Luke 9:13. He said to them, you give them something to eat. Look at this. And they said, we have no more. They went back to the math. No more than, listen, 5 loaves and 2 fish. Unless we go and buy food for all these people. You put it like this, it sounds normal. This is an aggressive, sarcastic, defensive response. He literally was saying, Shebi, you have not heard that we cannot buy food. Okay. It's only this 5 loaves and 2 fish here. Tell me how you want to do this one now. Abi, you want us to go and buy food from the market. Okay, it's my responsibility. Tell us what we will now do now. If you get into that realm, faith has left you. The mountain has taken root. You get defensive with God. Once you begin to find yourself reacting like that, you have stopped relying on grace. You don't feel you are the one doing it. And you are feeling the pressure. Because you are feeling that pressure, you begin to fight back. And God, he must be a dummy. Look at his answer. How can he be telling Jesus at this point? What an insult. At this point, unless you want us to go and buy food. So we can translate their aggressive response like this. Listen to this. All we have is 5 loaves and 2 fish. Okay, so should we go and buy bread? Or do you want to manufacture a supermarket in this desert? Will you give us money to buy the food? What should we do? Okay, it's our responsibility. How do we do it now? Please, we have reached our limit. We told you before to send these people away. You will not. Okay, it's our responsibility. Oh yeah, now, how are we going to do it? What impossible thing do you expect us to do next? They got so defensive, they were missing their answer right before them. Faith is never meant to accuse you. A faith demand or a faith burden is never meant to accuse you. If that demand is coming from God, it's not meant to accuse you. The minute you find yourself getting defensive, getting antsy about it, something is off. Either it was never God or you are not in the right place to receive it. And at this point, Jesus could have, I may even have vexed. I say, I beg, I know what to do. You all are wasting my time. But he didn't do that. He didn't do that. So, a logical answer didn't solve it. An emotional answer didn't solve it. Friends, a defensive answer didn't solve it. John chapter 6, verse 8. Then one of his disciples, Andrew, watch this now. Watch how you can miss the trigger right before you. Because your mind is already all messed up where their minds were. Look at this. Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, listen, there is a lad here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. We know the end of the story. Did that statement have anything to do with the end of the story? Huh? Was that not the answer right there? 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. If they were looking, listen, if they knew it was a faith demand, when Jesus said, you give them something to eat, that would have been a rhema word for them. They would have known, yes, we have to act on something here. But they didn't hear it. Then the answer literally came to them. There's a guy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. Oh yeah, now pull the trigger. Take it. You give them something to eat. Explosion. Miracle happens. They looked at it and they killed it again. But what are they among so many? They went back to the math. Think of the patience of Jesus through all this. Even you said you begin to feel now for this people. Don't say that so you are like that before. Before now you are like not anymore. Not anymore, Abby. We have moved. So don't judge them. But imagine how Jesus felt. A lad here has 5 loaves and 2 fish. You give them something to eat. You've been working with me. You've been with me. You know what I can do. Oh yeah, now move. But what are they among so many? But the exchange rate is so and so. But Jesus wanted them to pull the right trigger. What was the right trigger? What was this trigger? What was this trigger? Release the answer Jesus has for you by pulling the trigger in the spiritual realm. This trigger we're about to find now had nothing to do with their logic, had nothing to do with their emotions, had nothing to do with their getting defensive or going back to their logic. No. If they were thinking right, they would have recognized what was right before them. The trigger you must begin to understand, friends, is the trigger of the faithfulness of God in your life. I'll explain what I mean. Everybody here can look back and remember at least one time God came through for you. Everybody here can remember at least one time a polus oculus was dissolved in your life. Everybody. If you can't remember and you are born again, that was one. Do you know the polus oculus facing you as an unbeliever? And you met Jesus and you became born again? One time at least. Jesus simply wanted them to begin to apply the principles they had seen and heard him do. There are some basic principles you must apply, or you should apply, when you are faced with a polus oculus. One of the first ones is the seed principle. The 5 loaves and 2 fish were seed, but they scorned it. What are they among so many? The power in your seed has not yet fully been understood. Even science has not. What is packed in a seed? And because the seed principle or the seed sowing has been so abused in the body of Christ, one of the struggles, Pastor Oji was talking about repenting. It's like the season of repentance, because even me, I've been repenting of some things. One of the things I've been repenting of is when God tells me to do something. I don't disobey God. I don't know how to. But when he tells me to do something in an area that has been abused, it's such a struggle for me. I know the voice of God. I know when God speaks to me. Then he will tell me something to do that 10 other people are doing, and you're raising the principle. And if I do this, I will look like them. I say, I'm not doing. Lord, you know, I'm standing and say, Lord, you know, I don't disobey you, but this is hard, I cannot do it. They will think I've become like them. Lord, please preserve me my purity. If your purity now becomes pride, God said you should do it because it has been abused. The seed principle, you can't play with it. The way mountains move by yielding to this principle has not yet fully been discovered. And there were 5 loaves and 2 fish, and they asked the question that killed it. What are they among so many? How many times has God shown you your seed and you say, what is it among so much? You calculated how 5 loaves and 2 fish. We have a huge project going on in church. One day in a prayer meeting, the Lord spoke through one of the brothers in church. And he said, I'm not asking you to pay for this thing. Almost like, who do you think you are that you can pay for it? I'm only asking you to believe for it. I will pay for it, God said. You just believe me for it. That's why a student can give 15 naira to $1 billion project and not ask the question, what is this among so much? Because that student has come to understand the seed principle. So there was the barley and the loaves and the fish, and they disdained it. Friends, don't disdain your seed. Look back and think of how God has worked in your life and the faithfulness of God in your life. There are certain fail-proof principles that work with God. I remember when my first daughter was born, Zoe. We literally trekked to America to born her. You know when you're literally trekking? Because you have counted your money. 1990 something. We now trekked. My husband couldn't even come with me because there was only one ticket you could buy. And he insisted I had to have a baby in America. I said, let's not just born this child here. Let's born this child here. He took me to Pastor Charles and reported me, and I was instructed to obey my husband to submit. So I submitted and trekked to America. And he could not trek with me. So we now got there. I got there rather. I had the baby before he could come. That year, we only had one job. In our company had just started. The company was 5 years old then. 1 or 2 jobs. So it was hard. So what we did, because we had estimated just off head, maybe the bill then would cost, because we didn't want to owe like $2,500 or something. We thought that we aimed for around that. So we counted $250 and sowed it into a man of God's life before we left. And he prayed with us and we thanked him and we left. We arrived in America. I bond, that was another story. 2 days of labor. Finally, she agreed to come out.